Aloha, good morning, beautiful people. I am so excited to talk to you about this today. I'm going to talk about big dreams and why they are necessary to live our most authentic lives and how they're also necessary to achieve the small goals, right? They're the things that are seemingly small, which in fact are the flavor of life, right? So let's get right into it. So, a lot of times big dreams can feel overwhelming. Like you daydream and you envision this amazing, like being a best-selling author or traveling around the world or whatever your big dream is. It could be huge. You could be wanting to speak on stages like Tony Robbins and be well known in that way. You can want to be Mother Teresa. Whatever your big dream is, it belongs to your soul. Like your soul owns that big dream. Like if it wasn't possible for you, for one, you wouldn't be able to think of it. That's the thing. It's like the things that we know are things that already exist around us, within us. And when our imagination is really just tapping into this like bigger source of creation and aligning with what's available there and what is in alignment with us and our souls and our true desires. So it's important to honor those big dreams, to know that they're possible when you have these big dreams, that it wouldn't be a dream if your soul didn't know that it was possible for you. It just wouldn't. But outside of that, like, let's not, I mean, yes, the big dream is important, but one really great thing about that is that it leads us down our path of small dreams, of the pieces that put together the puzzle of our life. So imagine this. So you have a goal of running. I'm not a runner, so forgive these numbers if they're crazy. So you have a goal of running a 5K. You're going to train and you're going to visualize and you're going to see yourself and you're going to run that 5K. Well, that is your max, right? You've maxed yourself out at this 5K. So you're going to run, you're going to do the 5K, you get there. This may not be the best example, but I'm going to go with it. You get there, you win your 5K, woohoo. But if you were training for a 10K, even if you didn't reach the 10K, you're more likely to get further than 5K, right? You're going to get to 7 or 8 or 9, like somewhere along the way, but it's going to reach you further than that 5. So if we keep our goals small and we keep our dreams small, then we're never going to reach beyond that. But if our dreams are so big and feel so unattainable, like you dream of having $100 million, you're much more likely to get to $90 million than if your dream is to have $20 million. Does that make sense? Like, I hope this is like adding up. Since I'm using numbers, we'll go with adding up. But that's the truth of it. It's like important, for one, it's part of our souls, it's part of our human design, it's part of who we are as humans to daydream, to think of a better future for the world. Like, yes, we all want to, especially right now, so many of us want to see a world that is peaceful, that where everyone is fed and housed and clothed and taken care of, and everyone who wants to be clothed, there's no obligation there. Be naked if you want to be naked. But we can envision this world, but to say, oh, that's unrealistic, let's focus on what we can actually do, then what we can actually do is always going to be smaller. But if we focus on the big dream, the dream of having a world where everything works for everybody and everyone's nourished and we work in community, and it's more of this like feminine leadership to where we're all on even ground in a circle at the table, instead of this like supremacy idea that we've been living under of like the higher ups and the lesser thans, right? So we can dream of this world that's like an Eden, if you believe in all that, but just as for an example, where everything is perfect. Then we're going to get to a better world than if we're just like, well, let's just not be fascist. That's the goal. Just to go back to how we were, just the oppressive systems and the whole thing, and let's just go back to that. And this is so important right now. It's so funny because I was a little resistant to recording this because I'm like, why? How does this align? But I just went with it, and it's all of this is just coming to me now. So this is not exactly what I planned to say, but it all makes so much sense now. Like, we're in this breakdown of our government. I'm in the United States, but everyone is seeing it all over the world. It's ugly. It's real ugly. But I'm really just holding out that this is the breakdown that is required to get to the breakthrough. Like, we have to break down the oppressive systems that are seemingly it's more oppressive, but sometimes things have to get worse before they get better, and for people to wake up and realize that this is not the world that we want to be living in. But it's so important in this process because we are the change. Like, we are the humans on earth that are creating history right now that's going to create what our earth is going to be, what humanity is going to be, what the world is going to be. And the bigger we dream for that, the more pure and beautiful that dream is, the closer we are going to get to that pure and beautiful dream. And eventually we'll get there. And that's how it works with big goals. If you keep training for that 10K, okay, you may have gotten to 7K or 8K without losing your breath. I know this isn't how races work. Y'all just bear with me. I'm not a runner. But, then you're going to reach that 10K eventually. You just keep going. But if you are only ever aiming for 5K, you're never going to get to 10K. It's not even a possibility in your mind. Your mind doesn't even know to start rewiring and getting your body ready for the 10K because you've decided that you're only going for the 5K. Does that make sense? So this can apply to your personal life. This can apply to our humanity as a whole. This can apply to everything. And I'm not discounting the small dreams or the small wins or the small goals. Those are the spice of life. All the little pieces come together to create the puzzle that is our beautiful, beautiful lives. So if your final puzzle is a big, beautiful picture, then all the little pieces are going to fit together to make that big, beautiful picture. If your final puzzle is mediocre, then all your pieces that are going to make this puzzle are going to be mediocre. That's just how it is. And so by having the big dreams, our smaller pieces become more beautiful and more true and more aligned with who we are. By allowing our soul to see its greatest potential, to see our humans' greatest potential, to allow ourselves to daydream. For one, daydreaming is a form of resistance. I always talk about Trisha Hersey, rest is resistance, rest is resistance. But daydreaming, she talks a lot about that and the importance of daydreaming. And that's something that, in calming and restoring my nervous system, that I have found is just so important. Sometimes I have this big, beautiful window by my bed, and my bed's kind of built in, so it's like even with the window, which is pretty cool. And it's overlooking this gulch that I live on that's gorgeous. I would show you, but the light's so bright right now you couldn't see it anyway. But I live on this beautiful gulch with the river running down below. And when I'm laying in my bed, I can look out the window and I can see the rain. And that's like one of my favorite things to do, is to daydream, is to just stare at the rain through the window when it's raining and to daydream while I'm looking out that window. And it's so good for my body and my nervous system, but it's also good for my human to just like stop the pursuit of goals and allow myself to dream. But that allowing myself to dream helps with the pursuit of the goals, because the bigger my dreams, the bigger the goals, and the bigger the more pieces there are to get to that dream. And that's the joy of life. So it's important. I recently made a video about celebrating small wins. If you haven't seen it, I recommend going back to that video because it really is another piece to this puzzle. But I'm really into that puzzle analogy today, or metaphor, or whatever. Anyhow, so the small wins, celebrating those small wins is important because those are the pieces that come together to create your puzzle. Your puzzle wouldn't be complete without all of those pieces. And it's also important to help you build momentum. When you see yourself reaching the small goals along the way to your big dream, it's not like, oh, I'm not at the big dream yet. It's not time to celebrate until I get to the big dream. No, that's not it. Every piece is something to celebrate. And that celebration fuels you into the next piece, which fuels you into the next piece and keeps you going until you get that puzzle completed. And we may never get the puzzle completed, but if we're working towards this bigger, more beautiful picture, the puzzle that we do complete is going to be bigger and more beautiful than if we had just settled for what seemed attainable and seemed achievable. So this is really important right now because, again, our society is being recreated, and it's important that we be able to dream the biggest, most beautiful dream to build, to rebuild humanity as things continue to break down, but also to resist what's happening, to resist this idea that things can only be one way, and to live them in another way right now, right here and now, no matter what's happening in the news, to live them in alignment with your big dream of this beautiful life, of this beautiful world that works for everyone, or to live in whatever your big dream is, to live in alignment with that. For one, the more we're in alignment with our soul's purpose, the better we are as a humanity. It raises the vibration of humanity. It raises the vibration of everything around us. When we raise our vibration, it affects those around us. It raises them up. Like, there's just, the big dreams that you have are not silly and they're not frivolous. They're necessary. They're so important for this human experience. They're so important, not just to achieve goals along the way, but they're just so important in so many ways of being a human, allowing yourself to dream. Our imagination is how we create, right? So allowing that imagination to go wild. But when you do that and you give yourself permission to dream without worrying about how you're going to get there, like, oh God, now I got this big dream, I got to figure out how to get there. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just have the big dream, align with your authentic self, follow your intuition, and it will lead you right there. You don't even have to think about it. You just follow, and it just becomes natural, and it becomes a byproduct of who you are. It just continues to lead you to these dreams. And you may get to this big, beautiful dream, and that's amazing, and then have another big, beautiful dream, and that's great. Go for it. It's not about fulfilling all of our dreams before we die. It's about fulfilling our lives and our potential as being humans. And the bigger we dream, the more capacity that we have for greatness in our lives, the closer that we're going to get to that. So yes, the small goals and the small wins are so important. Like, they're necessary. They're all part of the puzzle. It all works together, y'all. The small dreams and the big dreams, it's all just part of achieving what our soul came to do, what our soul wants to experience, and to expand consciousness in this lifetime. And I did not know where this was going to go today. And I had so many other things I was going to say about this, but I feel like I've really just gotten the point across, and I want to leave it at this because I just think that it's so important right now, what's happening in the world, that we continue to dream big, that we dream as big and beautiful and wild as we possibly can. And just know that you don't have to know how to get to that dream. You don't know how to achieve that thing, and you don't need to explain it to anybody. You can if you want to, but you don't need to listen to other people's naysaying about it. You don't. Do what feels right for you so that you can preserve the beauty and the preciousness of that dream that lives within you, that lives in your soul, around you, not just in you, around you. Your whole spirit team, your ancestors, your guides, your loved ones on the other side are all with you, on your team, wanting to help you achieve these big dreams. So don't be afraid to dream them. You have to dream them. You have to dream them. It's the only way we're going to elevate humanity, is to dream big and to elevate our own lives, because our lives right here, right now, are important. They're important to us. It's our human experience. This is the one chance. I am the only person, and this is my only chance to be Melissa, to be this person. So why not let her dream as big as she can dream, and then enjoy the ride along the way to those dreams, right? So, and I can say that from experience. Like, I have set big dreams that seem so unattainable and so far away and so ridiculous, and then gotten to them, and then being like, oh, that was nothing. And then got into a bigger dream and a bigger dream. You know, at one point I dreamed of moving to Maui and living as a hippie. Moved to Maui, lived as a hippie, and then I got bigger dreams and started working towards those, you know. So stick with it. Keep dreaming. Celebrate your wins along the way. Let yourself daydream. It's the best. It's one of the best forms of resistance that we have right now, to rest, to daydream, to envision a better future, to have joy, to play, to experience the delight of life and not the dread of the world that those other people are trying to create. I love you. Stay authentic. See you soon.